Hello, my name is Eric Khan. I'm discussing minority stress, social stigma, and its effects on the LGBT community. So my personal interest is because I'm a member of the LGBT community, I'm involved in mental health organizations within the community, and I've noticed the prevalence of mental illness, and I want to look into research on why this is the case. This topic covers the intersection of social processes and psychological disorders. So the theory behind this is Myers' minority stress theory, which he discussed in his 2003 article, Prejudice, Social Stress, and Mental Health in LGBT Populations, published in the Psychological Bulletin, a peer-reviewed journal. So his theory states that minority groups are affected by distinct chronic stressors, distinct in that they are additive to general stressors experienced by the population as a whole, and chronic because they're socially based and related to stable societal structures. So within this, there are three stress processes: external, expectations, and internalization. And overall, these minority stressors have a disproportionate effect on the mental health and well-being of minority groups. So this graphic kind of illustrates in more detail his model. So there's stress and coping and their effects on mental health outcomes. So everything exists in the context of environmental circumstances, such as socioeconomic status, so advantages or disadvantages. And then an important aspect of environmental circumstances is an individual's minority status. So these circumstances lead to general stressors, like having to maintain a high GPA, and unique minority stressors, such as discrimination from employers. Usually, being a member of a minority group leads to self-identification with the group. So this leads to more stressors, so expectation of rejection, for example, but these stressors are affected by how strongly someone identifies with the group. Thankfully, identification with a minority group can lead to higher access to coping mechanisms and a social support system, which can mitigate to an extent the effects of these other minority stressors. So the empirical study I'm looking at is from Kaniuka et al., published in 2019, titled Stigma and Suicide Risk Among the LGBTQ Population. Are Anxiety and Depression to Blame, and Can Connectedness to the Community Help? Published in the Journal of Gay and Lesbian Mental Health, a peer-reviewed journal. The context for this is LGBT individuals are at a massively elevated risk for mental illness and suicidal behavior. A meta-analysis of many past studies by Russell and Fish published in 2016 in the Annual Review of Clinical Psychology, yet another peer-reviewed journal, showed that LGBT youth show depressive symptoms at a rate of over 1.5 times that of the general population. They're almost 10 times as likely to report suicidal behavior in their lifetimes. So what Kaniuka et al. Did was they looked at the LGBT-specific stressors through Myers' minority stress theory, and specifically at the protective factor of connectedness to the LGBT community. So what they found was that there's a triangular set of links between social stigma and anxiety and depressive symptoms, social stigma and suicidal behavior, and between anxiety/depressive symptoms and suicidal behavior. And that connectedness to the LGBT community will mitigate the effects of social stigma, so its effects on depressive symptoms and on suicidal behavior. However, connectedness does not really affect the link between anxiety and depressive symptoms and suicidal behavior. So a quick analysis of this study's result is that it supports past research, so replication in a way. However, there's some concerns, such as the questionnaires that are used to collect the data concern different time frames. For example, the anxiety and depression questionnaires covered the last 2 weeks. The suicidal behavior questionnaire covered the entire lifetime, and connectedness and stigma questionnaires had no specified time frame. Another concern is the sample, which is predominantly white, and also 500 people, and however only had a limited number of those holding some gender identities. So there's cultural and ethnic differences, as well as the underrepresented gender identities that may result in some inaccuracies. There's also the concern that the data collected and the methods used to analyze it can't really determine between causation and correlation. So we know there's a link, but not which way it goes. However, it does support the Myers theory, so there's strong reason to think that it is causation, but we don't know for sure. So some implications of this is that you can have specific targets in cognitive behavioral therapy. You can have more emphasis placed on growing and building a community, and this is also applicable to other minority groups. Okay, so here's the works cited real quick. Thank you for listening.